Morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to give just a couple more minutes to get everybody logged in, but while we are waiting, I just want to do a little housekeeping. If you have any questions that I don't answer during the presentation today, there is a chat function down in the bottom right-hand corner that you can use to send a message to me. I will read it and answer your questions at the end of the presentation. Will go over a lot of information. I know a lot of people had questions about currency, what clothing to pack, where they can exchange money, that sort of thing. So I'm going to cover all of that information today. But if you think of something along the way that you want answers to, please feel free to send those to me. And then, like I said, they're in the bottom right-hand corner. It says type your message. And if you send me a question, I will answer it at the end. So thank you for joining us today. I do apologize. I'm sure most of you that are here today weren't able to get in on the presentation on Tuesday. Um, Technical snafus, gremlins, I'm not sure what the deal was, but everything seems to be working today. So knock on wood, let's hope that everything goes smoothly today. But thank you for joining us. Before you head it off to Scandinavia, we want to give you some information about what to pack, again, currency, where to meet your tour guide, and additional information such as that. And first, I'll go over just some general information, answer some of the questions that were submitted on the original registration form, and then at the end of the presentation, I'll open it up for additional questions you might have. If you had any questions related to a specific tour, I may not cover those online today, but we'll follow up with you afterward to make sure that you get those questions answered. So who am I? My name is Amanda Hancock. I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager at Brekke Tours. We are excited to have you along with us this summer, and I invite you to visit our website. If you have any questions that you think of later that you need answers to, you'll find our helpful hints under our resources, and this is a great guide, and you'll also receive a copy in your final documents. It's a great guide to answer those frequently asked questions and things of that nature. So speaking of your travel documents, you will expect to receive a packet of information from our office about 2 to 3 weeks before you depart. We typically send out one packet of information per couple. In the package, you'll find the following: a departure letter with some basic information pertaining to your specific tour, a final tour itinerary, your final flight itinerary if you've booked airfare with us, luggage tags, a tote bag, contact information for the hotels you'll be staying at while on tour, a copy of our helpful hints, and any additional information that might pertain to your particular tour. So this is a very important packet of information to review and look over before you head overseas. Now, some documents are more important than others. For instance, please double check to make sure that your passport is valid for at least 3 to 6 months after your return date and that you have a copy or two of your passport. Be sure to pack your passport and a copy in your carry-on. Don't put it in your checked luggage. You may want to leave a copy of your passport with a family member or friend, which can be sent to the U.S. Embassy in case your passport gets lost or stolen while overseas. Now, please take a few moments to ensure that the name listed on your airline ticket matches your passport name, and this includes your first, middle, and last name. And one more thing about the passport, you actually need the passport booklet. It will look something like this. If you have a passport card, the airlines will not let you get on the plane to fly overseas. So you must have the book where they do the stamps and all that. Back to the airline tickets. You may want to keep a copy of your airline receipt to ensure that your miles are credited to your account. The airlines are responsible for crediting your points to your frequent flyer account. So if your account balance is incorrect, please contact the airlines directly. And finally, if you've booked any independent services with us, say a pre or post-tour stay, please review your documents before departing the U.S. and contact us immediately if you notice any errors or if you have any questions. Please note that the vouchers will have emergency contact numbers in case you need assistance while traveling. And finally, please note to any special instructions on your vouchers. And for instance, train vouchers must be exchanged for an actual ticket before boarding the train. Now, on the land portion of your tour, we allow one suitcase and one carry-on per person. Luggage handling at hotels is provided for one suitcase. Thus, your luggage will be delivered and picked up at your room at the beginning and end of your stay. We do provide 2 luggage tags per person. Thus, please put these tags on your large suitcase and carry-on. You may also want to put a label with your name, address, and phone number inside your luggage in case the tag becomes separated. Most airlines do allow one free piece of checked luggage on international flights. If you have a domestic ticket booked in conjunction with your international flight, the airlines may charge a baggage fee. So you'll want to check with your airline before departing to see if any fees will apply. And typically your checked luggage can weigh up to 50 pounds and the dimensions cannot exceed 62 inches, and that's length plus width plus height. A standard large roller bag is what we recommend using. And for your carry-on, typically the weight cannot exceed 22 pounds and the dimensions should not be over 45 inches. And that's also length plus width plus height. Now, while you're traveling on the land portion of the tour, the bus will have the large carry-on or the large checked bags. They'll be stored under the bus. And then if you bring a carry-on or like a backpack or something like that on the bus, you can typically leave those on the bus while you're out touring around. We use a private bus, so we will be the only ones using that. And the driver typically will lock the bus if he is not with it. So, and there's usually like an overhead bin on the bus as well where you can store those items so they're not having to take up seat space. Because luggage fees and restrictions vary from airline to airline, please contact your airline directly for more information. And so I've listed the different websites for the various airlines on this page, and you can refer back to this a little later if you want to check your specific airline. Now, we had a lot of questions about clothing, what we should pack and what we should bring. So casual clothing is appropriate for all of our tours. For the nights that we have dinner included, you may want to bring slacks and a nice shirt or blouse, as Scandinavians do like to dress up a bit for dinner, but it is optional. Clothing that can be layered is recommended as temperatures can change depending on your travel during the day. So for instance, in the morning, if you're up in the mountains, it could be a little chilly. Same thing for at night. But if you're down in the valleys during the day and you're out touring around, most of the time a sweater is fine. Good walking shoes are a must, as sightseeing along cobblestone streets and walking in the mountains of Norway is not the place for heels and flip-flops. So ladies will leave those at home and bring some nice sturdy shoes. A raincoat with a removable lining is a good choice, or you may choose to bring a rain poncho. A light coat or jacket may be necessary in the morning and during the evening. And you may want to bring a swimsuit if you'd like to enjoy any of the pools or spas at the hotels. And finally, leave your valuables at home. If it will create an emotional or financial hardship, it's best to leave it behind. So your family treasured pin or something like that, just please leave it at home. It would be terrible to leave that behind somewhere. And in case your luggage is delayed, I recommend packing a change of clothing in your carry-on bag. And if you're traveling with someone, put some of your clothes in their suitcase and vice versa in case one bag is delayed. Now, if you're planning to visit family or friends in Scandinavia, you may want to bring a small gift, especially if they're extending their hospitality in some manner. Appropriate gifts include an American flag or windsock, books, calendars, caps, t-shirts, or other items unique to your city or state, college or professional sport clothing or caps, Native American or country and western themed items, liquor or liqueurs, and for children, Disney clothing, candy, puzzles, or cartoon characters. Other things you may want to pack include extra memory card or battery for your camera, snacks and a refillable water bottle. The water in Scandinavia from the tap is perfectly safe to drink, so you can save yourself $2 to $3 on a bottle of water by just refilling one every morning before you leave the hotel. Washcloths, if you are like me and like to wash your face at the end of the day, most hotels in Scandinavia don't include a washcloth, so you'll want to bring some of your own. Tissues, sewing kit or safety pin, medications, and this includes prescription and over-the-counter. For prescription medications, you don't have to have them in the prescription bottles, but I would suggest taking a picture of your prescription that's listed on the bottle in case you flush your pills down the toilet or they fall in the sink and go down the drain, something like that. That way you can get a few extra, and I would recommend bringing a few extra just in case too. Band-aids or a first aid kit might also be a good idea. Converter or an adapter, and we'll talk about those in a little bit more detail in just a second. Sunscreen and sunglasses, extra eyeglasses or a repair kit, extra contacts and solution for those of you who wear contacts, maps and travel information, a spot remover such as a Tide stick or wipes, inflatable pillow or an eye mask, umbrella or poncho, a journal to record your favorite memories of the day, and then a small day pack for sweaters, camera, snacks, and water, and then plastic bags. And these are great in case anything gets wet along the way, you can keep it separated from the rest of your clothes, which is nice. So the average daytime temperature in Scandinavia is very similar to that of northeastern United States, though it's rarely as hot in the summer or as cold during the winter. Average daytime temperatures in Fahrenheit for June, July, and August range from the high 40s to the mid 60s, depending upon your region of travel. And it's always a good idea to check the weather forecast before you depart the U.S. Now, converters and adapters. The world runs on two types of electricity, 110 or 125, which is what North America runs on, and then 220, 240, which is what pretty much the rest of the world runs on. Now, to determine if your device is dual voltage, you'll want to look on your device. So the label may be affixed directly to the back of the device. On the AC transformer box of the power supply lead, so the box that you would plug into the wall, are molded into the plastic on the plug. It's often in very small print, and sometimes it's difficult to find. So if your device is dual voltage, then all you will need is an adapter, and this actually changes the plug. If your device is not dual voltage, then you will need a converter, and this actually converts the electricity from 220, 240 down to 110. So the converters typically run about $20 to $35 depending on where you get them, and then the adapters are about $3 to $5. So most computers and cameras, cell phones, things like that are dual voltage, so all you should need then is an adapter. But if you're like me, you have a hair straightener, that is sometimes not, so you would need a converter in conjunction with the adapter. Now, most hotels will have a hair dryer in the room, so you won't have to worry about bringing that. Now, we also had a lot of questions about currency, what to bring, which country has which currency, that sort of thing. So Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Iceland, and Finland each have their own currency. All of them have their own currency known as the kroner, except for Finland, and they use euro. The currency of the 5 countries is not interchangeable. The easiest place to exchange your money is at your arrival airport. You can also exchange money at banks and some post offices while in Scandinavia. Your tour director can assist with locating the exchange desk or an ATM. You'll find that most major credit cards, such as Visa, MasterCard, and in larger stores, American Express, are honored. However, most credit card companies do charge a foreign transaction fee on purchases made abroad. So you'll want to contact your credit card company to first find out if they have any foreign transaction fees and what those might be. And second, to let them know that you'll be traveling outside of the country, where you're going to be and when, so that they won't put a fraud hold on your card and you'll just be stranded holding a piece of plastic that doesn't do anything. So, so very important, contact your credit card company before you depart the US. Let them know that you will be traveling. So they won't put a hold on your card. Now, ATMs are readily available in larger cities, so you can collect cash out of your checking account or savings account pretty easily. We don't recommend taking traveler's checks just because they're not as widely accepted anymore. So if you're looking at something in Scandinavia and you would like to buy it, but don't know exactly how much it would be in US dollar, so you take the currency and this little chart here just kind of gives you a quick way to guesstimate what that might be. So in Norwegian kroner, you would divide by 8. Danish kroner divide by 6, Swedish kroner also 8, and then Icelandic kroner divide by 100. And for euro, multiply by 1.1 to get the approximate US dollar amount. Now, if you're planning to travel from Minneapolis for your departing flight, you may be interested in our Park and Fly special, which is in conjunction with the Hyatt Regency Bloomington Mall of America. It's near the South Airport entrance, and rates start at $135 for a king or two queen bedded room. It also includes 10 free days of parking, shuttle to the airport, and the Mall of America. If you are interested in this and would like to make a reservation, please just contact our office and we'll get get a room booked for you. So a little bit of information about Iceland Air. Iceland Air is the airline that we use on all of our escorted tours. So, and they depart from Terminal 2 at Minneapolis St. Paul Airport. Now, all flights will route through Keflavik Airport in Iceland, so you will change planes here. You will have to go through passport control, but you will not have to collect your luggage. So you will need to have your passport and have it handy, but you won't have to collect your luggage as long as it's checked through to your final destination. So if when you check in Minneapolis, if they check it all the way through to Oslo, you won't have to collect it in Iceland at all. So it'll continue on. Like I said, you will change planes. Now, on your flight with Iceland Air, you can expect free in-flight entertainment, but headphones are for sale. So if you prefer to bring your own, you can do that as well. You will receive complimentary water, soft drinks, tea, and coffee. However, if you're in economy class, you will not receive a meal for free. So there's a selection of food for sale, or you can bring your own. Snacks on board range from about $2.50 to $5 for chips, sweets, trail mix, and pastries. And then meal items are $8 and up, and this includes a snack box, a sandwich, or a salad. For those of you that had requested window or aisle seats on your tour applications, we did send those requests to Iceland Air or whichever airline you're flying on. However, we can't guarantee that the airlines won't change or cancel that request after we have submitted that. So we really don't have any control over that, but we do try to get the best seats available depending on your request. So if you don't have a seat on your ticket, you will receive a seat selection when you check in for the flight. If you need wheelchair assistance or an electric cart for transfers at connecting flights, we can request that. So please let us know ahead of time and we'll send that over to the airport and the airline so that they will know ahead of time. And then we also ask that you re-verify that at the airport when you check in. So it's just kind of a double check to make sure that they received it and that you'll receive that assistance that you need. Now, how to avoid jet lag. So if your flight arrives in the morning, try to sleep on board. And if you're like me, you have trouble sleeping on the plane, you might want to try over-the-counter sleep aids. You can also bring an eye mask, earplugs, and a blanket or pillow if that will help you sleep. You might want to bring a toothbrush and some toothpaste that will help you freshen up before getting off the plane. Wear loose-fitting clothing and wear comfortable shoes, but don't try to take them off because sometimes your feet will swell during long flights. When possible, get up and walk up and down the aisle to stretch your limbs and get the blood circulating. Be sure and drink plenty of water on the plane. This will help with the walking since you'll have to go to the bathroom. Avoid alcohol, caffeine, and carbonated drinks. And avoid wearing contact lenses in flight because the cabin air tends to dry them out. And if you've ever slept in contacts, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you tend to get airsick, drink a small bottle of ginger ale before boarding and pack a newspaper in your carry-on. The ginger ale will help calm your stomach, and so will the smell of newspaper. And once you do arrive, spend a lot of time out in the sunlight. This will help your body reset its natural time clock to coincide with your new surroundings. Where to meet your tour guide? So, your tour guide will meet you in the arrival city in Scandinavia outside of customs in the arrivals hall. So, after deplaning and collecting your luggage, you will proceed through passport control. So, they'll look at your passport, they'll stamp it. And then after that, you'll see two exits: green if you have nothing to declare, and red if you have something to declare. So you'll choose the appropriate exit, and then after leaving the customs area, continue to the arrival hall, and this is where you'll meet your tour director. And usually they'll be there holding a Brekke tour sign so that you'll easily recognize them. If you're arriving on a different flight than our group, you're welcome to join our transfers provided the arrival time is similar. Please be sure to send a note to our office indicating the flight number, arrival time, and the flight's point of departure. If for some reason your flight should be delayed, our tour director will know that you won't be joining us for the transfer, and then you would have to take a transfer on your own to the hotel. So if you do need to take a transfer on your own, not to worry, you can choose from several modes of transportation from the airport to the hotel. Airport buses with many departures run from the airport to the city center in each of the Scandinavian capitals. And trains and taxis may also be available from the airport to the city center. So buses are plentiful. You can also take taxis, and then most larger cities do have trains as well. So, but one thing to note about the trains and buses is that you may have to take a taxi from the central station to the hotel if the hotel isn't nearby. You can then meet the group at the hotel that night for dinner. Dinner time is listed on your departure letter. And I would recommend looking in your helpful hints booklet for transfer options at the various airports. So we've got a nice little chart there that will give you transfer times, options, and approximate cost. So some things about your hotel rooms. The first thing you may notice is that they are smaller than what we expect here in the US, and that not all of them will have air conditioning. All the hotels used on our itineraries do have private bathrooms with a shower or a tub, toilet, and sink, so you won't have to go down the hall to go to the bathroom. If you get into your room and think there's a fuse blown when the lights and the TV don't turn on, there's just a little box you'll need to find. You'll slip your key card into that, and then the lights and everything should come on. It's a great way to control the consumption of energy, but it's not something that we're really used to here in the US. Now, some hotels in larger cities will have a guest laundry room or offer cleaning service at an additional cost. For more information on these available services, please ask the front desk staff. Nearly all hotels offer internet access in their lobbies and at a computer station, and more hotels are offering wireless connections as well. So it's very rare to find a place that doesn't have a Wi-Fi in the room nowadays. Now, before you set off on your own, grab a business card or a map from the front desk. In case you get lost, you can use the business card to ask for directions using the map in order to get back to your hotel. And most of the time, you will find a hairdryer, a clothes iron, or a pants press, along with shower gel and shampoo in your room. However, if any of these items are missing, you can call down to the front desk and they'll bring those up to you. So some physical expectations that you might expect on the tour. Most days, the tour will start with a departure from your hotel between 7:30 and 9, depending on the day's schedule. Sometimes it's a little more leisurely, so you'll leave a little later. A breakfast buffet is served each morning at the hotel, so you might want to leave some time to eat before you depart. Your guide will advise each evening on the next day's departure time. You can expect to arrive at your hotel each night around 6 p.m., sometimes earlier. And on travel days, you can expect stops to allow for restroom breaks and sightseeing activities. While most tours are leisurely, you can expect to walk short distances each day, sometimes over uneven terrain such as cobblestones. You will need to be able to climb steps in and out of the bus. And please note that restrooms are sometimes located in lower levels of buildings, and at times there can be no elevators. So it's something to be aware of while in Scandinavia. If assistance is needed, we ask that you bring a qualified and physically able companion to assist you. You can choose to opt out of any activities while on tour. We leave that to your discretion. Motorized scooters are not suitable for any of our escorted tours. And unfortunately, because we can't control the universe, things do tend to happen from time to time that are beyond our control, such as the webinar on Tuesday that didn't want to work. If something does happen while you're overseas and you need assistance, here are a few helpful hints. First, ask your tour director for some help. From lost luggage to finding a good place to eat, your tour director is there to help ensure that your vacation is as carefree as possible. If you happen to leave your phone behind in your hotel room, or need an injury seen by a doctor, or have something stolen, your tour director can be a huge asset in getting the help that you need. Now, if you're on your own or you haven't met up with your group yet, seek help directly from the source, whether it be the airlines, hotel, or car rental agency. If you get lost, ask help from the locals. Most Scandinavians speak English fluently, and you will find that most are willing to lend a hand if asked nicely. If you really need assistance right away, be sure to know how to place a call while you are in Scandinavia and what the local emergency numbers are. If you look in your helpful hints booklet, there's emergency contact information right up front of that booklet. Now, if your passport goes missing, know where the U.S. Embassy is located so you can immediately start the process of getting a new one. And finally, be adventurous. Don't let one bad thing ruin what could be a great trip. Sometimes the right attitude can make all the difference. And finally, there's just some random tips that we put together that kind of accrued over the years. So first off, save your portos and step over the threshold as you enter your hotel room. Many thresholds in Scandinavia are raised, and you'll find yourself stumbling if you're not too careful. Also, be cautious when getting in and out of bathtubs, as they tend to be a little deeper than the tubs that we have here in the US. Now, after finishing a great meal, you might find that your waiter or waitress just keeps coming to check on you but never brings the check. If you find this happening to you, just kindly ask for the check and soon you'll be on your way. And speaking of eating out, tipping in Scandinavia is not typical, as many restaurants will include a service charge in your bill. You can leave a few kroner, round up to the next 5 or 10, if they were particularly attentive, but leaving a 20% tip is not necessary. And while we're on the topic of tipping, we do leave tipping to your discretion on the tour for the guides and the bus driver. You'll find a handy guide in your helpful hints booklet that gives you some suggested tip amounts. You can offer a tip in US dollars, but local currency is usually preferable. Now, if you have any soap or shampoo that you're planning to bring along, I would put that in a plastic baggie to prevent any kind of explosion all over your clothing. And you may want to bring a small bit of soap to hand wash any items that you want to rewear while traveling. And another handy tip, and one that we can't stress enough, is to call your bank or credit card company before you leave the US to let them know where you are going, for how long, and to expect some charges to show up. And finally, pack a couple of days before you actually leave. This will give you a chance to hopefully catch anything you might have missed, and pack some snacks to take along with you, granola bars, trail mix, etc. You can then use this space to bring home any items that you've purchased along the way. So some questions that came in on the registration form, I'm going to go ahead and answer that. Are these, how much money should I bring? And this is a really hard question to answer because it really depends on a number of factors, the length of your stay, the extent of your travels, and last but not least, your spending and or your shopping and sightseeing plans. So all of our tours include breakfast and most dinners. However, lunches are typically left up to you. You can expect to spend $5 to $15 for lunch in Norway, for instance. But if you eat a large breakfast, bring a snack with you, and eat a decent dinner, you'll find that you really won't be needing lunch very often. Other expenses are usually of a personal nature, such as laundry, drinks at dinner, any taxis or transportation, and gratuity for the drivers, guides, and your tour director. I would recommend bringing a bag of snacks once again. This will save you quite a bit of money, and also you can use that space on your way home. And then also an empty water bottle. Like I said before, the tap water in Scandinavia is perfectly safe to drink, and you can save $2 to $3 on a bottle of water just by refilling your own every day. Should you exchange or bring money before leaving the U.S.? Now, if your bank can exchange U.S. dollar into Norwegian kroner, then it may not be a bad idea to bring some along. I would contact your local bank first to determine if they have kroner or euros on hand, and if not, can they acquire some? Most banks, kind of in the North Dakota, Minnesota area, they might be able to get Norwegian kroner and of course euro. That's a little more common. Icelandic kroner is pretty much impossible to get outside of the Iceland. Swedish kroner and Danish kroner banks may be able to get. So I would contact them first to see if they can get their hands on some. And then you'll want to ask if there are any fees and what the rate of exchange would be. So you can compare this to the market value to see if you're getting a good exchange rate. How will I recognize others on the tour? So after you get off your plane in your arrival city, the easiest way to spot other Brekke tour participants is to look for the Brekke bag or luggage tags. We made our luggage tags pretty bright for a reason, since they're easy to spot. This will not only help you locate your luggage, but also potential friends on the tour. If you decided to book a pre-tour extension, the easiest place to meet your group is at dinner the night the group is scheduled to arrive. So if you're arriving early, dinner on the first night the group arrives at the hotel is the best place to meet. Typically, dinner starts at 6:30 or 7, and that will be in your departure letter in your tour document packet. And then, should I bring cap and mittens? Personally, I prefer the chance to be warmer than colder. So if your tour includes time on a boat, which most of them do, or treks up north, it's certainly not a bad idea to pack some warmer clothing. You can always take off a layer if you're too warm, but if you're cold and left those items at home, then you're just out of luck. Are seats assigned on the motor coach? No, we ask everyone on our tours to switch seats on board the bus so that everyone gets the chance to sit where they want. Do medications need to be in a pharmacy labeled bottle? I did talk about that a little bit earlier, but just to recap, the TSA currently does not require passengers to have medications in their prescription labels. However, I would recommend taking a copy of your prescription or take a picture of your pharmacy label that's on your bottle when traveling. Can I use my phone in Norway? Unless you have an international plan, your phone will probably not work when you're traveling overseas. You can contact your carrier about an international plan. However, there are ways to make calls back home when you're connected to Wi-Fi through either FaceTime or Skype or any of the other video chat applications. Just be sure to download them to your phone, and you might want to try them out before you head overseas. So, but if you are interested in an international plan, you would need to contact your cell phone provider or service provider. Will I be able to wash my clothes? If you're planning to pack light and wash your clothes while traveling in Scandinavia, you may be in for a challenge. Laundromats are pretty scarce. However, some hotels do offer laundry services, but it can be pricey. Taking items that can easily be hand washed in the sink and then hung overnight to dry is a great way to keep your traveling garments smelling and looking fresh. And especially if you have 2 nights at a hotel, you can wash some clothes out that first night that you're there, let them hang, and that'll give them 2 nights to dry. So that's a great way to get a little laundry done while you're traveling. Any tips or suggestions for souvenirs? So depending on which country you are visiting, there are some great options, such as postcards, Christmas ornaments, linens, magnets, music CDs, flags, clothing such as Norwegian sweaters, And small items, these are all pretty small, so they fit nicely in your luggage and they don't take up too much space or weight. Now, if you have a little extra room, you might want to look at trolls, dollar horses, Viking replica carvings and items, glassware, animal or reindeer or animal pelts, candles, pewter or silver item. Liqueurs are also popular, but you must pack those in your check luggage. So if you do need items shipped back home that can be arranged, I would suggest asking the shop if they offer shipping to the US. Now, speaking of souvenir shopping, what is that? That is value-added tax. And so if you do any extensive shopping while in Scandinavia, you'll want to bring your passport along on your shopping trip. You'll get the necessary documents from the retailer, and then at the airport, you can track down the little kiosk, the Global Blue kiosk, and fill out the paperwork in order to receive your value-added tax refund. To get a refund, your purchase has to be above a certain amount. For instance, in Norway is 315 kroner, and that's at a single retailer. So you can't add up purchases from various shops to reach the required amount. So if you're doing a lot of shopping, you'll benefit from finding one spot where you can buy big. What will we be eating on tour? So if you're worried that you'll starve while on our tours, not to worry. Each morning you'll be greeted with a full Scandinavian breakfast, which usually includes a variety of breads, cereal, fruits, yogurt, meat, warm dishes such as scrambled eggs or bacon and sausage, cheese, jams, and more. And then for dinner, it's more of the same. There's quite a variety. There's usually different choices of meat and fish, fresh fruits and vegetables, breads, potatoes, and desserts. Some things to try while you're in Scandinavia, reindeer, different kinds of fish, yogurt, cream, and ice cream. They're extra yummy over there. Strawberries, cheeses, meatballs, waffles, berries such as lingon and cloudberries, and then of course there are freshly made breads. You may also want to try some regional drinks such as aquavit, beer, mixed drinks, and wines. And finally, if you're planning to fly with a CPAP machine, it's considered a medical device, same as a wheelchair. It would not be counted toward your carry-on allowance. So again, it's not counted as your carry-on allowance because it's considered a medical device. To bring one on board, you must submit the make and model in order to get authorization to carry it on board. This information must be submitted no later than 72 hours prior to your departure time. So to submit this information, please send us an email at our front desk office, and we'll pass that information along to the airline. So I'll display our email address just in case you have forgotten it. So so that is the end of that. But I'm going to open it up to any questions that anyone may have um, along the way. Here's our contact information in case you want to jot that down for future use. William, you'd ask about wearing a money belt or something similar. Um, I've not had much experience with money belts, so that's I'm not sure that I would be qualified to comment on that. I know my husband, he has a wallet that he likes. Um, to travel with. It's smaller than his normal wallet, and it carries like a couple of credit cards, and then it's got a money clip on the back, so he could put it in his front pocket, as that's a little bit more difficult for pickpockets to get to, I guess. And for you ladies, I would recommend a crossbody bag, so one that has a strap that crosses your body instead of one that just hangs on your shoulder. Um, you know, crime is not too prevalent in Scandinavia, not as bad as you would think, but it is always good to be aware of your surroundings and to take precautions such as that. So if a money belt, William, if that's something that you have tried before and works, then I would suggest, why not? But otherwise, you might check into having like a smaller wallet or something like that that you could put into your front pocket or even if you have like a shirt pocket, you could put it in your shirt pocket. So I know some people have those like the neck thing that they put their passport and things in, and people tend to like those, but it's just kind of a personal preference, I guess. So if we have any other questions, please feel free to send those in at the bottom right-hand corner. You can put in, send those questions right over to me, and I'll try to get those answered. It's a pretty small crowd this morning, so if you do think of something later, you can certainly give us a call or send us an email. We're happy to answer those questions before you guys head overseas, so that's not a problem. Typical lunch, Cynthia, you had asked about that. I would expect to spend $5 to $15 for per person for lunch, depending on where you eat. So if you eat at like a cafeteria type place or a little cafe, probably closer to the $5 mark. If you are sitting at a sit down restaurant or something like that, it's $15 and up, depending on what you get. Um, yes. Joe, you had asked about using your cell phone to check weather forecasts. As long as you have Wi-Fi, you are perfectly able to do that. I don't have an international plan on my phone, so I usually just connect to Wi-Fi when I'm at the hotels. And then also your buses, most of the time will have Wi-Fi as well. So you can actually check that stuff while you're on the bus. So, and you can make calls. I've called back home while I'm on the bus and like, look at what I'm seeing. And, so that's always kind of fun. Any other questions? I'll hang out for a minute or two, give you a chance to type those in. It's always a good idea to, if you're interested in using your cell phone while you're in Scandinavia, you can check with your cell phone service provider to see what an international plan will cost. Sometimes they just have like a one that you do for like a month or something like that. So if it's not much, it gives you a little more access to things. So can we bring food from Norway on the plane home? Typically, if it is packaged, then yes, you can. I know I have brought cheese home from Norway before. I believe I put it in my checked luggage though, just because it's I guess it's similar to a gel. I don't know. So I put it in my checked luggage. Same thing with any kind of wine or liquor that you buy. Definitely put it in your checked luggage. There was some TSA agents at Amsterdam that were having a party with my aquavit on the way home. So, how long is the flight from Minneapolis to Iceland? Oh, that's a good question. I believe it's about 6 hours, maybe 8 hours. I would have to check on that. Um, 1 second, I can ask. So I can tell you from Boston, it is 6 hours, but I would know because I'm going there in a couple of weeks. Um, Yes. So Joe, you can make calls back home without an international plan if you have Wi-Fi in the hotel and the bus. The way to do that is to use a video chat application on your phone. So like on the Apple phones, it's FaceTime. I'm not sure what it is on Google or Android. I should probably know that, but I don't. Or there's Skype. Skype is another one. I think FaceTime has one now, to be honest. I'm not really sure. But you can check your app store with whatever phone you have, if it's Apple or Google, and there should be some sort of video chat option. Um, so you can make calls and you can actually show them what you're looking at. So that's kind of a fun thing. Any other questions? Sandra, I'm still checking on that. How long is the flight from Minneapolis to Iceland? I want to say it's, I'm going to say it's 7 hours. I'm going to say it's seven. Oh, here we go. I'm going to get an answer for you. 6 hours. 6 hours is what I've been told from our air department. Cynthia, you asked about do the beds in hotels have duvets or sheets and blankets? They have duvets. So, and for those of you that are sharing a double bed, you will each have a duvet. So for my husband and I, it's great because he is a cover hog. So I get my own covers. It's wonderful. Everybody's happy. So yes, Joe, you will not be able to make voice calls without Wi-Fi or with Wi-Fi. So you would need to use FaceTime or a video chat. Now you can do like where you could just turn the video off and it would be similar to making a voice call. But the only way to do a call back home without Wi-Fi or without an international plan would be to connect via Wi-Fi. Um, and you use a video chat option. You can also send text that way too. So if you just want to send somebody a quick, um, just a quick note, hey, I made it or whatever, as long as you're connected to Wi-Fi, it works. So, um, Cynthia, you had asked if it's a good idea to bring your own sheet because you don't want the heavy duvet. Um, I I am not one that likes a lot of covers, and I've not had a problem with the ones in Scandinavia. Typically, they do have a sheet as well. So if the duvet is a little too much, you could just use the sheet. So, but I mean, it's always a nice idea if you prefer just having a sheet. Um, bring one just to be on the safe side because sometimes it's just a duvet. So. Blue jeans and tennis shoes, perfectly acceptable attire, William. That's totally fine. Great choice. And then, okay. Karen, you had asked how long the flight is from Iceland to Norway. So let me ask that from our air department. So, two changes. Sandra, you had asked, are we on our own to change up the seats on the bus? Typically, your tour director will ask that people rotate, seats day to day. But some people it's like we're creatures of habit. So it's like this is my seat, I'm going to stay here. And some people are perfectly fine with that. But the tour director does ask people, they do ask people to change seats every day. So. Cynthia had asked about American type logo items. I don't know that I would display like a big American flag all over my shirt, maybe, but something subtle probably would not be that bad. I know I've worn caps with like Alaska written on them and things like that. Never had any problem like that, but I wouldn't go overboard and dress head to toe in American flag paraphernalia. So. And that's probably more for just being in the airports. Most Norwegians are happy to have Americans there. Provide a lot of if you've traveled to Norway, you have relatives over there. They are so happy to share their history and their connection and things like that with Norwegian Americans. So they're very happy to have us there. But in the airports, that just might invite somebody to comment negatively. So, any other questions? These are some great ones. I've not had some of these questions before, so thank you guys. Going to give a couple more minutes to get those questions sent in. We got some time. I'm not going anywhere. I want to say the Iceland flight to Norway is, well, it depends. If you go to Bergen, I believe it's 3 hours. To Oslo, it might be 4. So, Karen, I'm guessing. It should, on your flight confirmation, you know what? Hang on. I think I might have that. Okay. So from Reykjavik to Copenhagen is 3 hours. So I would imagine it's probably about the same to Oslo, maybe a little shorter into Bergen. So I hope that information helps. But on your flight confirmation that you will receive from us, it will have the duration on there. So so you can see that. If you do run into problems, yes, Cynthia, we do have a 24-hour, it's an after hours call or number. So basically you would call our office and we have a number listed on there, or you would get connected directly to our after hours contact. So we have a contact that we have, we kind of rotate that out between our staff. So somebody's always available in case of, I missed my flight and how am I going to get there and that sort of thing. So yes, so there is 24-hour contact available, and that information should be in your departure letter, I do believe, on how to do that. So, and Karen, you asked how long the flight is from Iceland and Norway. The answer I received from the air department is 2.5 hours. So somewhere in between 2 to 3 hours, depending on where you're flying into, is what I'm going to say. The time difference between the United States and Oslo is about 6 hours, I believe. So I know, like here, they've already gone home for the night. So all of our suppliers in Norway, we have to contact them very early in the morning. Any other questions? Please feel free to send those in. You are very welcome, Cynthia. I'm glad you guys were able to join us today. So, and I do apologize once again for the problems that we had on Tuesday. So, yes. So, any other questions? If there's not any more, I can wrap this up and thank you all for joining us today, or for joining me. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your patience with our technical difficulties on Tuesday. So, please let us know if you do think of any other questions after the webinar is over. I will be sending out a link with the recording so you can listen to it again in case you missed anything. And then we will be hosting another one in June. So if you would like to hear maybe just kind of a refresher before you leave, if your departure is a little bit later in the summer, please feel free to join us for that. Otherwise, I will wish you all a very wonderful Thursday. I'm looking forward to setting my tomorrow. I hope you guys all are too. We're going to have some fun here in our office for Norwegian Constitution Day. So be sure and display your Norwegian flag tomorrow and have some waffles. And anyway, so thank you all for joining us this morning. We look forward to showing you our favorite corner of the world, Scandinavia, this summer. Take care and have a wonderful day.